Okay, so self-improvement for dummies or self-improvement simplified. So self-improvement can seem so daunting when you're first getting onto it or even when you are onto it. So I'm hoping that this video will help you either get onto it or progress when you are onto it. These are like the foundations of self-improvement that you should have ticked off first before you progress, and this shall set you up for when you want to go in different avenues as well with this self-improvement. So what is self-improvement? Well, self-improvement is like improving yourself, making yourself better and feel better within yourself and with the habits you do. So there are 6 sort of steps in this, where we have step number 1, which is consumption. We have step number 2, which is healthy habits. We have step number 3, which is our mission. We have step number 4, which is Zoom, and I'll explain what I mean by that. We have step number 5, which is schedule, and we have step number 6, which is share. I'm going to be going through all these steps in this video, and I'll explain them in depth to you and set you up. But first, who am I? Well, I'm Adam, and I help the average person improve their life. I help them get their life together. I help them get onto self-improvement and stay onto self-improvement and even evolve within being on self-improvement. I pretty much do all the research and I translate it right back to you. I am not going to sell you any course like most of these people you find in this space, but all I ask is you follow my Instagram. That is the best way to support me. And if you want to support just the channel, then subscribe to the channel. Both my Instagram and my YouTube channel will give you value. So yeah, let's get on to the first step, which is consumption. You've got to be careful who you consume and what you consume. That is like the first stage of self-improvement, being more careful of what you're consuming. Because there's so much to consume in this packed world, and there's so much people who want control of your brain, but it's up to you to filter all of that. So there are kind of 3 main categories of consuming. Well, 4, but the 4th one I'll go over in a different video. The 4th one is sort of friends and your mates who you surround yourself with. But the first 3 are things you can literally do today and it will change your life. So the first step in being careful with what you consume is the YouTubers you consume. So here on the screen, we have a few YouTubers who on a broad level are really, really good to consume because they keep you on self-improvement. Like if you consume self-improvement content, you are more likely to stay on self-improvement, the same way where if you have a passion for baking and you consume a load of baking content, you are most likely to stay baking. And if you are a baker, please bake me some brownies. I'm quite peckish. So on the screen, we have Ali Abdal, brilliant YouTuber. You see, in the self-improvement space, I'll slow this down. In the self-improvement space especially, it is highly filtered toward men, which I think is a big issue because women also deserve self-improvement just as much as men. And what is good with channels like Ali Abdal is he tailors it on a broad level to anyone, not just to men. So Ali Abdal, he's probably my number 1 YouTuber that I watch. He does a lot of productivity stuff, a lot of reading stuff, all that sort of stuff. And it's good to consume that content. Take notes as you're consuming. That is always good. That's how you can level it up. But yeah, Ali Abdal. Also TED Talks. That you can cover a whole broad scale of topics on TED Talks, which will help us when we go in a later step with Zoom. But TED Talks are really good. There's a lot of experts who talk. There's also a lot of yappers who talk. It's up to you to filter through those people. But since you're more careful with what you're consuming, you'll do that. And here we have Ben Saunders. He is a very good YouTuber. I watch him for my fitness stuff. But The reason why I am showing him up here especially is because he is also a small YouTuber like myself, very much bigger than me, but a small YouTuber like myself. And these small YouTubers on self-improvement are way better than these big YouTubers on self-improvement currently. Like, most of these big YouTubers just want your money. They don't actually want to help you. But I've found with these smaller YouTubers, they genuinely want to help you. So channels like mine, channels like Ben Saunders, really good. The smaller channels will come a lot more from the heart, and you can support them to help them grow and spread their message from the heart to more. So they're the YouTubers. The next step is podcasts. There's two main podcasts I watch, and these are very broad for anyone to watch as well. The Diary of a CEO, it's sort of like the podcast version of TED Talks. There's a lot of broad different topics, like you can see Simon Cowell up there, so it's down to you to filter them to your interest, which we'll again look back into with the Zoom. But that podcast will sort of run you through anything you want. So if you want to improve your sleep, there's something for that. If you want to improve your social skills, there's something for that. Your finance, your negotiation, all of that. And on the right of that, we have the Huberman Lab podcast for Andrew Huberman's podcast. In that podcast of Andrew Huberman's, he's like a scientist, and he goes into the science of all these topics of self-improvement. Like here we have how to improve skin health, these niche topics, but interesting topics nonetheless. That I'd start with the Diary of a CEO if we're dumbing it down to start off, and then maybe shift into the Huberman Lab podcast. But he uses a lot of scientific terms, so it depends if you're up for researching that. So after podcasts, we have books. I've got my 3 biggest suggestions for people just joining self-improvement literature and all that sort of stuff. Eat That Frog, the first ever non-fiction book I have brought was Eat That Frog, where it's on time management skills, but it also just gives you these principles for life and goal setting, etc. Eat That Frog by Brian Tracy. He's a big influence in my life, Brian Tracy. He is an amazing man. I love Brian Tracy. Eat That Frog, a brilliant book, easy to read, quick to read. It's not very thick, which is always good. And it is also not very boring and feels miserable to read. So Eat That Frog, I suggest that be your first book as well. Really good. Then we have Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. I can't promote this book enough. It is incredible. This book was the first ever proper book that I was like, okay, I see why people read. This book doesn't give you sets, actionable steps like Eat That Frog. This book gives you principles. I have this book with me, actually. It gives you principles because it's like the diary and journal of a Roman emperor called Marcus Aurelius. And it's all of his Stoic philosophies and quotes all in this book with the diary entries. It's brilliant. I highly suggest everybody get a copy, annotate it, read it. I've destroyed my book with the amount of annotations I've done. It's insane. I had to get a Kindle version. But yeah, Eat That Frog and Meditations. And finally, Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss. Brother, if you are into wanting to improve your social skills, do it with this book because it will also help you improve your negotiation skills at the same time. Currently I'm writing a book on social skills and social interactions, and I've used a lot of the principles from this book to help me because this book taught me more about social interaction than the stereotypical How to Win Friends and Influence People books, even though it's about negotiation. It's a brilliant book, and it will help you understand the principles of people as well, which is also really good. So we have Eat That Frog, Meditations by Marcus Aurelius, specifically with that one, the Gregory Hayes translation. That's the best translation of it that I could find, and it's the best one suggested. So Gregory Hayes translation, you can find that on Amazon. It's like £8. And Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss. Now, moving on to healthy habits. So, healthy habits, I've listed some out here and we'll just go over them quickly. So, we have cold shower, we have drink water, we have go on runs, we have workout, we have eat well, we have meditate, we have journal, we have wake up early, we have sleep well, and we have implement. So let's start with implement. I can't speak today if you couldn't tell. Please bear with me. What do I mean by implement? When I say implement, I mean implement what you have read. Like, of course, you've read those 3 books, but if you read any more books, try and implement as much as possible into your life and experiment. You're like the guinea pig. Squeak, squeak. Implement the principles and just try to see what works for you. We're all very different. But then we have cold showers. I'll do a full video on cold showers, but I don't really need to explain much about that. Just turn the shower cold and go in. That's a healthy habit. I'll make a video of why and all of that. Drink water. This is when I am coaching people. Because I coach my friends from time to time and help them out. But when they're stuck in a rut, I tell them, just drink water. It gets you out that rut quickly. If your focus is drinking water and keeping water with you, it's a mood booster. You'll feel a lot more energized. Your skin will get clearer. You'll feel focused. You'll feel hydrated. It's incredible. Then there's go on runs. Start the day with a run. You'd love it. Just bam, bam, bam. Jog around. Be the Flash. Run. Pretend I'm chasing you. You'd probably let me catch you. Then work out. Work out. This is probably the most suggested thing in self-improvement is be fit and work out. It's so easy to start with. Just do some push-ups, just do some sit-ups, just do some squats. You don't need much. You can literally do 10 push-ups right now. Do 10 push-ups right now. Go on. I'm not going to wait for you. You can pause. Eat well. What do I mean by eat well? I mean, like, try to avoid the obviously bad food. Try to avoid the Mackie D's. Try to avoid the KFCs. Try to avoid the Domino's. Try to avoid the Subways. And I don't mean those tram things. I mean like the sandwiches. Just try to avoid heavily processed foods. And it will save you money as well. Eating well will boost your mood and save your money. It's a healthy habit. Journal. The specific type of journaling I do to start is gratitude journaling. So what is gratitude journaling? You can do it right now. Grab a piece of paper and write down 3 things you're grateful for. I think everyone should do this. If you don't do this, and if you're not going to do this, I have no respect for you. Write down 3 things you're grateful for and do that every day. If you repeat things sometimes, it's fine, but try not to. Try to make them different things. Write down at least 3 things you're grateful for. Gratitude journaling will change your life. I can't preach it enough. I remember when I started self-improvement, I started with push-ups and gratitude journaling. Brilliant. It was brilliant. And meditation, I skipped that. Meditation, easy. It's just focus on your breath. Shut your eyes and just focus on your breath for like 2 minutes and keep up in it a minute every single day. Or every so often, maybe not every day, but keep up in it and just focus on something. I use my breath because I love the sound of my breathing. And then there's sleep well, which is wake up early and sleep well. So wake up half an hour earlier than you already do. And have a bedtime. The amount of people who don't have a bedtime is crazy. Give yourself a bedtime. And you don't have to stick to it always, but it gives them, if you don't, you know it is like your own fault. You know it's your own fault for not sticking to it. And you can suffer the consequences the next day when you wake up early, but always wake up early and try to always sleep well. And of course, implement the habits you read about. Next, we have our mission, and in brackets I put purpose, from the book Meditations. Yes, a brilliant book. I've got a quote for you all. Brilliant. The quote is, "People who labour all of their lives but have no purpose to direct every thought and impulse toward are wasting their time even when hard at work." So what do I mean by purpose? It's like a goal. It's like a goal from the heart. A lot of people try to give you these purposes like making money, and making money is cool. I want to make money, but if you don't want to make money, you don't have to. You can just, if you're an artist, do art and make that your purpose. And by figuring out your purpose and what you want to direct your energy toward, you have a better idea of what habits to do, which will help you in this next step. But first, journal down 10 goals you want to achieve and circle a maximum of 3 of those goals that you, if you achieved, will be the most purposeful things you do. Next, we have Zoom. So zooming into these, we have this. So we have the 80-20 rule. So first, when we zoom, but before we get into the 80-20 rule, I did say I would talk about the books and the content consumption. Once you have your purpose, you know what content to consume, all of that. There we are, touched on that. But the 80-20 rule. So here on the screen, we have workout. Very broad term. Now we're looking for the vital few tasks to achieve that term and task. So workout. What is the vital few tasks? The 20% of tasks that give the 80% of the results. We have push, pull, legs and core. Easy. Stripped it back. Proper basic, proper minimal. Easy. You can do this with anything. Like if you're a painter, probably the vital few task is just to paint. It's just to paint and contact galleries. They're the two like vital few tasks. So think about your 80-20 rule. Think about the vital few tasks, the bare minimum tasks you have to do to achieve your goal, or the bigger, broader task. Next, we have schedule. I've made a video on scheduling, but now you know the vital few. When you put in slots in your schedule and your Google Calendars, because you should be using Google Calendars. Why aren't you using Google Calendars? But you should put in, when you put in workout, you now know what you mean by that. You now know the exercises you're doing that day, and it's way easier. And you should schedule your days. I suggest you watch this video on scheduling. It will help you. It is 43 minutes, but you can chip away at it. Finally, we have share. What do I mean by share? I mean post your progress on social media. Let people see what you're doing. It will keep you honest. It will keep you motivated. It will even inspire people to join the path you are on. And speaking of social medias, here's my social media here. Please drop it a follow. I hope you've gained value from this video, and I'll see you in the next one.